What is going on, everyone? Welcome to another episode of the Yamcast. Today is episode 97. Folks, we have done a lot of these. We are fast approaching triple-digit numbers on the Yamcast, getting to the vaunted triple-digit speeds, fast speeds, big numbers on the Yamcast. Very exciting. We've got some cool news for you today. Couple bikes, new kids on the block, an Aprilia RS440. Brandon, how much more packed can the beginner bike market get?
Apparently more. They're going to come out with, someone else is going to come out with something else.
It is crazy. I can barely keep up. You got Triumph with their 400s, Aprilias, maybe a KTM RC440, CF Motos, Ninja 400s. My brain is scrambling. Yep. But then on the other end of the spectrum, news from KTM, because everyone was asking about this, right? I mean, I remember talking to you the other day. I was like, you know what? I want a bigger engine in my Superduke.
Yeah, because that's all the things that I need in Superduke.
That's what I need, yeah. So a KTM 1390. We're going to be talking about that. And then we're also discussing the Kramer GP2, the 890RR. That's really more of a launching point for us to talk about these kind of like esoteric track bikes that are coming out nowadays. These track-only variants, like, is that a new trend? I kind of want to talk about the Kramer specifically too, because I know that you're a bit of a KTM simp. Yeah. I like the bike. I think it's really cool. We'll talk about it. For the main section of today's podcast, it's more of an audio-visual component. We are going to be watching and reacting to Brandon's greatest race of all time.
Oh, God.
This one's going to be fun because, as many of you know, Brandon is a former Moto America racer, participated in the KTM RC Cup Series, and this one was back from 2017, right? 18?
15.
15. Oh, that was a long time ago. Yeah. One could say you were fresh in your prime, doing great things, and the race has a climactic end. So I want to get your commentary. I think it'd be fun because apparently people online are saying, "Who the hell is this guy?
Yeah,
he doesn't even know how to brake."
Riding for a few months.
Yeah, riding for a few months.
Like, oh God. Yeah.
And then our final bit of the podcast, we asked the Discord boys to send us their best motorcycle-related stories. We're going to be reading those and having some fun. So sit back, relax. It is going to be a good one. Hey guys, really quick before we kick off this episode of the Yamcast, I wanted to tell you about a promotion we've got going on with the store. We're giving you guys 5 times the entries for every $1 you spend to win our giveaway Ninja 400. This is truly one of the best beginner bikes of all time, and we are thrilled to have one in the shop and make some content with it. Head over to yamanoob.co and pick out anything you like. We sell top-of-the-line gear like Scorpion helmets, Revit riding gear, Cardo communicators, and so much more. And every $1 you spend will be 5 times the entry to win. Don't miss this awesome promo because time is running out. Now let's get back to the show. Brandon, first bit of thing I want to talk about is Aprilia RS440 spotted undergoing final testing. What do you make of an RS440? Got here some spy shots. Before we even look at this article a little bit, what do you think they're going to do engine-wise? Small parallel twin or single cylinder?
I'll probably bet single. I'm going to bet single.
You think so?
Yeah, I'm going to bet single.
Interesting.
Yeah.
I would have thought they'd take their RS660 platform and just shrink it.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking, but Aprilia doesn't do what we think they're going to do all the time.
That is true. Yeah.
And their previous small bikes, like their Aprilia 125 or whatever, they're small CC bikes. Singles. They're all singles. And no offense to Aprilia, I really hope this bike does well, but the other ones don't do well.
Yeah.
They don't.
Which
they look
ones?
Good. They, like the Aprilia RS125. Like it looks cool. It was never fast.
No, yeah.
So I hope that's not the case for this, but we'll see.
It's a very big Euro market play, I think, too. An RS440, I think it's likely that it could even just be a European model. There's a lot of these bikes, actually, that we're not even getting in the United States, like the Honda Hornet we haven't seen, the Tracer 7 we haven't seen. So an RS440, maybe we're not even going to see that. But I think it'd be cool if we do RS440 and then maybe a 2.0 440.
I think
the naked version would be kind of cool.
That'd be cool.
But I think about it this way, right? Like they took the RSV4 platform, they lopped that engine in half and then changed the bore and stroke a little bit. And they're like, hey, RS660, here you go. So I wonder if that's what they're going to do with this. They're just like lop off a cylinder off the 660
and make it just a little bit
and
bigger.
Just a single and just make it bigger and something like that. Yeah. That would be my take from it. But I think it could be cool if they can make it look similar to an RS660, give it the same kind of tech package, the feature, you know, the lights. That sells really well to people. You look at the CF Moto 450 SS, right? I think people like that one because it looks a certain way. And if you can get Italian bike looks at an entry level price, pretty cool.
You have the ingredients for a bike that should do really, really well. I hope it does, but Aprilia, again, is never the best at executing that stuff. So we'll see. The 660 did well, and people didn't think it was going to do well at first, and it did really well.
It did really well.
People are expecting this to do well, so I'm afraid that it might not. But I'm going to keep an open mind because I want to ride one. I want to see how it compares to anything else, all the other 400 class bikes that are out there.
Can you imagine if we were to do, like, once this comes out, like a 400 class comparison video? It'd be like 10 bikes. Oh, yeah. It would be crazy.
We just need people to be on the bikes.
You would need an army of riders to ride 10 of them at the same time.
Then people would be like, "Oh, they're not the same speed." I'm like, dude, we're doing the best we can. We can't get 10 identical riders.
From another perspective, because you and I are obviously interested in this, what do you think about racing or track days with an RS440?
I mean, if it's anything like the 660, it should be really cool. It's really fun, and we would probably want to do it. But again, we'll see how they execute it.
It's not class legal, though. That's the thing. If it's a 440...
But if it's a 440 single...
I guess, then it would work, right? If it's a 440 single, because then it's less than a 450 single, which is class legal, right? For racing?
No, not class legal.
It's not class legal? I think it would basically end up being...
450 motard.
Oh, okay. But I guess it would just end up being basically like a track day toy then at that point. One thing that I think would be very interesting, and this would differentiate this bike completely from the others, if you look at this, if this is the prototype 440, look at that frame.
That's a weird looking frame.
That's an aluminum twin spar frame.
Yeah.
That's a real frame. That's not...
That's a frame.
That's a frame. Yeah. That's not a steel tubular like you see on the Ninja 400s or the CF Motos. That could really change the game for this bike because the old two-stroke bikes had frames like that. They were small, they were lightweight, nimble, and had frame frames. So that to me would be like, oh, this bike could actually handle beautifully well. But
I wonder what the tire size they're going to run on it. Does it say in this article what the tire size
it does not say what the tire sizes would be.
That front almost looks like a 110. It doesn't look quite like a 120. It's weird.
Yeah, I think it's going to run a 110 because doesn't the Ninja 400 run a 110 or is it a 120 factory?
I think it's a 120 factory.
I think it's a 110. I think the R3s and the Ninja 400 are 110s.
The R3s I think are 110s, but I don't think the 400s are.
I think the 400s are because you get to 110 whenever you go to the 600 class in those bikes. Then it's a 120. No.
Well, the 660 has all that.
The 660 is a 120 for sure, because it's a bit bigger. But
I don't know. That's a good question. I thought it was always one. I mean, we raced with a 120, but
we do.
I don't know. That's a good question.
But it's interesting, and it might open the door to maybe a Touareg 440, an adventure crossover bike like this one over here. That looks like the Touareg 660, but maybe they're going to do a 440 version, a new platform, because that's what they did with the 660. They did the Tuono, the RS, and the Touareg. If you're going to make a new engine, you might as well make 3 different bikes with it. That's what I would do. So it's cool news, and it's cool that we're getting new stuff coming along here from Aprilia. And it also makes me wonder, because Aprilia is based with Moto Guzzi and some other companies, if that engine is going to translate to other motorcycles and other lineups too.
I would absolutely imagine.
An entry-level Moto Guzzi with a 440 would compete then with the Triumph 400s, and then...
You just start to open the door. There's
so many bikes, man. There's so many bikes out there. It's insane. So really cool. We are going to be hot on the heels of this development. Obviously, if one of these comes out, I'm going to snatch one up immediately because I got to see what it's all about. Got to see what it's all about. But Brandon, I want to move on to the next bit of news. We have a KTM 1390 on the way.
I said this last time. I was already tired of seeing all the whatever 90 bikes that KTM's making. It's a bit much. They just keep coming out with more.
I just think that KTM, with their whole oh, dude, we can't make real fully furred sport bikes because they're too dangerous. You're going to put a 1390cc twin in a naked bike?
Yeah. The 1290 was already stupid fast for that Superduke.
Yeah.
And I've seen a stock Superduke 1290 do 15s at Crescent. Wow. Out of the box.
Wow.
That's stupid fast. so that they're just going to put a bigger motor in it. What? It's already stupid fast. Like, we never wanted it to be faster. That was never a question in my mind if we got a faster 1290 Duke.
Absolutely. Yeah. And to me, it strikes it as where it's like, it must be some emissions related thing where to meet certain power, they have to increase the displacement, because at this point, it's starting to get silly. I mean, 1390 cc, even if it ends up being, because I think later in the article it mentions, it's like, oh, it's going to be between like 1340 to 1440, because that's how they name their stuff, right? That is a gargantuan engine. That's a Harley engine, basically.
There's that piston right there.
Yeah, the piston's about a plate. And because of the short stroke, it's going to go like that. It's absolutely crazy.
But it's not like they can't get more power out of a smaller engine. They do it in MotoGP. They know how to do it.
No, they do, but I think the emissions are a big problem with these bikes, man. Like you can't get that done with that type of thing. But I just... The fact that they're going to make a 1390 is hilarious. But it also makes sense because BMW is making a GS 1350. There's a larger BMW GS coming out.
I never considered the Superduke and the GS to be competitors.
They're not competitors, but like KTM uses this engine in their adventure bike platform too, right? And if you're going to have it be modular across all the bikes, then you have to make it go up in displacement. I think... Personally, Triumph is leading the way with the Rocket 3, right? Why don't we just 2,500 cc motorcycles, and that's the standard. Have you ever ridden one of those?
No, I don't want to. 2,500?
They're awesome.
Oh my God.
They are awesome.
No, I've never ridden one of those.
Duke 1390, man. Brandon, anything else to say about the?
What can we say about it? It's gonna be the fantastic Superduke and 1290 models that we all know.
Yeah.
Just faster.
Yeah.
Like there's not much we can say about it. It's super exciting, but stupid exciting.
Stupid. Yeah, very stupid. The article mentions here that the Superduke does come in the R, RR, R Evo, and GT configurations. I actually did not know there were so many different variants of the Superduke. I thought you just got the Superduke R and the double R.
Yeah.
I didn't realize there's the Evo and the GT. But it just makes me be like, KTM, just build a freaking real, fully faired bike. What are you doing? Like, just do it.
At this point, they have the motors to do it. Just do it.
Yeah.
Just do it.
Just do it. Because the old RC8 was kind of like a Buell, you know,
I loved that bike so much. It sounded mean. It looked mean. It was great.
Did you ever ride one?
I rode one once.
Handled beautifully.
I didn't know. It scared me. I was the first I've ever ridden.
Okay.
The first one I ever ridden. So, but no, it's a fantastic.
Or were you like 12 or something?
Yeah, basically. I loved watching it be ridden, though.
Yeah.
It was an amazing bike to watch.
Yeah, they're really cool. So we'll keep up to date on the Duke 1390 as well here. Not much more to say about it because we are missing some information. It's kind of we'll see what happens with it type of thing.
But again, all the 1290 variants that this motor's gonna replace, we all know those are great bikes. Like, all across all the ranges are great bikes. So.
That's one of the few bikes that I've tried a couple of them, but I think a lot of people want me to get as a giveaway bike just to like own and ride and use for a little bit.
A Superduke giveaway would be cool.
A Superduke would be sick,
because then we can just ride the Superduke.
Yeah. All right, maybe we'll get a Superduke. Maybe we'll get a Superduke. Okay, now we're cooking with gas.
Yeah.
But
the last year model Superduke 1290, then be like,
it's vintage. Yeah, it's the good one. Yeah, for sure.
Big brain move right there.
Absolutely. So speaking of KTM, the last bit of news we wanted to talk about, it's sort of a loose topic here. This article came up, review that Zach Quartz did on the Kramer GP2-890RR. A lot of people talking about this bike and the KTM RC8C lately. Brandon, let's give an overview of what this motorcycle is before we kind of get into it.
Well, it is, in my mind, the fully faired bike that KTM should have. It is that.
Yeah.
But this is a super cool track toy.
Yes.
But that's it.
That's basically it. Yeah. So taking a step back, Kramer is a company that used to develop these, they call them the super mono bikes, right? These single cylinder trellis frame motorcycles from KTM engines. They were like these hand built, passionate things that they made. And in the last couple of years, they took the twin cylinder platforms and they put together for KTM the RC8Cs. Those are actually Kramer built bikes that KTM kind of oversaw and sold. So if you guys saw those limited edition models that, they freaking flew people out to the Jerez with Danny Pedrosa, and they did all that cool stuff. It's super sick.
Yeah.
This is the Kramer version of that bike, so it's basically the same. And so what we're working with is a 313-pound, 138 horsepower race bike that has the 890 engine in it.
So less than our 400.
Wow, yeah, you're right. It's I hadn't thought about that.
With 100 more horsepower.
Oh man, that's got to be good. Yeah, and immediately on tap torque. And yeah, I mean, you look at this bike, gas in the back, full data logging capabilities, fully track prepped, fully set up. Top shelf suspension components, enormous brakes for what it is. I bet you this thing stops on a dime.
Wait a minute, I just had a brainwave.
What's your brainwave?
Because that's a twin.
It
has raced with the 600s.
That
makes more power than 600s.
And it's lighter.
It's going to be lighter.
Yeah. We should
get one. We should get one, race it in.
So just to give you guys a little background here, every day that Brandon shows up here at Yami Noob, he has some different race bike he wants me to buy.
This morning it was a 660.
This morning is a 660. Now you're like, oh, let's get this.
now it's a Kramer.
I suppose you could run this in the 600 class, right?
Let me take a quick step back.
All right.
I find some phenomenally priced bikes for you.
You do. Yeah.
Randomly.
That 660 is mint, and I may buy it. I don't know.
It is mint.
It's mint.
For a good price.
For a great price. It's pretty incredible.
I don't think I can find a deal on this, but...
No, that's going to be a cool 40 Gs.
Yeah, but the coolness factor's there.
The coolness is cool. But the other thing about it, too, is from like a club racing and track perspective, like you buy this and you pull up on it, it's like...
It's so extra.
You better win.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like you better fight. You better not finish mid-pack bullshit with this thing.
You'd be like, oh yeah, I won on a Kramer. Okay, that's not surprising. You're supposed to.
You're supposed to.
I got second. Why? Did you get beaten by another Kramer?
Yeah, imagine some dude in a clapped out R6 beats you. You're like, damn it.
God dang it. I suck.
So the thing we wanted to talk about this bike is this a new trend? Are we seeing these limited track only bikes that people want? Stuff like the V4R is similar, it's homologated, but this thing is kind of different,
We see it in the car world. I wouldn't be surprised if it comes to the track world. Like KTM makes the crossbow car thing. That's not a road legal car. That's a track toy. Like it happens in the car world all the time.
Yeah. Well, Ariel Adams and stuff like that.
They are.
I guess those are road legal, but yeah.
They started out not being road legal, but they are now. But I wouldn't be surprised seeing this go on in the bike world. I'm not surprised at all. And with it being with KTM, they do it in both worlds, so I'm not surprised.
And they are all ready to race and all that stuff.
Yeah, exactly.
One of the big benefits of this bike to me is obviously it's very expensive, all that stuff, but the fact that it doesn't make that much power, and the fact that it is so dialed in, and the fact that if I scroll down here a little bit,
it's a good looking bike.
Oh yeah, it is.
It's such a
I wanted to show that you actually get the data capabilities with it. I believe this bike is equipped with all the telemetry. So throttle input, brake input, lean angle, all the stuff. And this is how you learn. This is how you get good.
This would be phenomenal for like you or anyone else trying to follow, be like, hey, go get JC or me or someone else, go ride. You just study what they do and you never need to see them again.
Yeah.
Like go do a fast lap and then you just try to replicate it. Be like, what are you doing? Where are you doing it?
What are you doing? Where are you doing?
Every single answer you would ever need.
Yeah. This to me is the next generation for actually getting good on track.
That's really cool.
Because riding schools are great, and having a coach follow you and GoPro you is great.
Yeah.
But the data does not lie. This is where it's at. And when I did the Yamaha Racers Only program, the bikes were equipped with something similar to this. Yamaha has the data logging thing that they put on the R6. It was very basic. It was just throttle and brake. But this looks like it's giving you everything. Lean,
everything. Shifting,
shift points, gearing.
To get that type of technology in your own bike
oh my god,
it used to cost like 20 G's just to get in your own bike, because it's a whole new harness and everything. It
all
takes
the sensors,
exactly.
Everything.
So the fact that we could take that number off of that Kramer, that's only technically a $20,000 bike with a $20,000 data logger on it.
Yeah,
basically.
Yeah.
And that's worth it, because a lot of people pay that much for the data logging, especially that detailed of a data log.
Yeah. And I'll be honest, I mean, that's a super niche clientele that's going to go after that. So that's insane, right?
Absolutely.
Like, because you like there's levels here, right? Like, let's start off at the bottom floor here. You have motorcycle enthusiasts, right? It's like dudes that like bikes and ride them. Great.
Yep.
You have guys that have gone to the track once or twice, not even regular. Just I've been to a racetrack.
I've been there.
That's like 15% of all riders, maybe, you know, maybe. And then you have track day junkies where it's like, I go regularly, you know,
and
it's
that's
like,
probably
okay.
about 40-ish% of those
Of
people.
that.
Of that.
You just keep whittling it down. And then it's like people like you and me where it's like, oh no, like we race them. This is like a big part of what we do. Even smaller. Then it's this where it's like, I race, I want to get good, and I have enough money to go and do that. This is what, like 8 people, you know?
And that's such a fine point when you start bringing in just like, oh, hey, this guy made it to pros, and this guy made it to world stage in MotoGP. It's just doop, 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 down to the, 24 riders that are in MotoGP?
Literally, yeah.
That's it.
The 24
Out of
guys.
all the people in the world. 24 dudes got picked.
Yeah.
No, it's insane.
And it's funny because you brought up a great point where it's like, you know, is it for a professional or is a consumer hobbyist kind of guy going to get into this?
This is that.
Maybe.
This is like a squiggly, like, oh, over here, by the way, is these guys.
Yes.
That's what that is. It's these guys.
You look at a bell curve, it is way off here and like 9 standard deviations off.
Yeah, no one even looks at it. It's like, that's a random point.
Yeah.
But those are the people that are going to buy this.
Yeah.
And I'm jealous.
I'm very jealous.
I want to be that guy.
I'm very jealous too. And it's fascinating because it's like we all, you know, as track day junkies and racers and like, you know, you wish you could just like, oh yeah, let me just drop 40 G's and get this fucking kick-ass bike that's so mint. It's going to teach me stuff and make me faster and all that stuff. But then you sit back and you really think about it and you're like, but if I just get an AIM Solo 2 and a Ninja 400, I'll probably learn a lot. You know what I mean?
Because
like
to learn, you're going to have to crash.
Yeah.
Do you want to crash that? What spares you going to put on?
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. What are you going to put on? You break a handlebar, you got to wait a month because you got to get sent from Austria to come back to you.
The other issue I find too is at this price point, and rightly so, people they might say, well, I want name badge, I want Ducati, I want BMW, I want
Kramer,
I want the top shelf. You know, I don't know if I want Kramer, right? It
doesn't sound good, but you know, when you mention it, people are like, oh, that bike, oh yeah, it's a sick thing.
Yeah. Zach Kortz went on here to say, for example, he says, for me, the closest thing to racetrack perfection I've ever experienced was Honda's RC213 VS in race trim, precision and power captured perfectly in the same bottle for $200,000. That was Honda's basically road legal MotoGP bike they released a few years back. You remember that?
Yep.
And then he said that the Superleggera V4 was similarly impressive. And it's interesting because the Kramer fits those bills, but at a much lower price point, relatively speaking. But I don't know. I think stuff like this is really cool. I am all about this.
It's a good looking bike.
It's cool, man.
Yeah. No, it's cool at every point that you really think about it. It's a cool.
I want to just.
That's what it's supposed to be.
I want to ogle some of the hardware here. I love this. This is a cutout in the subframe to get to the adjusters. That's pretty sick. Actually, in the fuel tank, he says, not even the subframe, because the fuel tank's in the back.
Exactly. Yeah. I remember seeing a photo of that the other day.
Yeah.
But
the dash.
Yeah. No, what revs to 11? It's revs to 12.
Revs to about 11 or 12. Yeah.
Yeah, probably red line.
Power probably ends at 10.5. Yeah.
That's just good looking.
Look at all
the attention to detail.
Yeah,
with that
man.
thing.
It's just
pit lane speed limiter, of course. Because why not? We have one of those on our 400.
Accidentally, we have a pit lane.
It's your fault, and you know it. I'm never going to let you live that down.
Look, they asked me if I wanted launch control. I said, yeah, put that on there. Why not?
How'd it work? Did it work?
I mean, you were able to launch, weren't you?
No, I wasn't.
890RR Mectronic ECU. Oh, look at this. Oh, look at that.
Yeah.
With the adjusters
so
to
good,
precision. Oh, dude. Yeah.
The attention to details.
So nice. But yeah, again, this is the type of stuff that we sit here and just nut over.
Yeah,
but
that's the stuff we want on our bike, and then we go look at our bike. You're a piece of shit. You suck. You suck.
Look at the 400. You're like, you're doing your best.
Yeah.
And
good job.
Good
buddy.
job. Yeah. But yeah, 890 RR here, Kramer. Very cool machine. We hope that other manufacturers make stuff like this. And one last point I want to make is that RC8C, whenever they announced it, I mean, it sold out in 30 minutes.
Yeah.
All 40 of them or whatever were gone like that, you know?
Absolutely.
So if another manufacturer, I think Yamaha is in the position to do this type of thing.
If you can get your hands on one, wouldn't you?
Absolutely.
So absolutely. And that's what KTM knows.
Yeah.
They're like, and Kramer.
I kind of feel like I'm just like 2 or 3 years away from just being like, you know what? I've worked hard. I want something like that. You know,
I want
screw
a
it.
toy.
I want a really nice toy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep. Absolutely. Something that you can, I mean, you actually can probably resell the hell out of that thing.
Oh, for sure. Yeah. Oh, it comes with the pre-drilled bolts and the wire already done.
I don't even care about that. I was just looking at the sick caliper. It's so good.
Oh, yeah.
And the anodized fork.
The fork, yep. Yeah. Oh, yeah, dude.
God.
Oh, yeah.
It's all carbon fiber.
It's a nice thing.
Oh,
it's a beautiful thing. Yeah. So we hope more companies make bikes like this. We really like seeing them. But Brandon, speaking of KTM and racing, I think it's time we check out your footage and react and review to your greatest race of all time.
Yay.
Let's do it. Let's do it.
Let's do it.
Alrighty, Brandon. So we're putting you on the spot a little bit today. We wanted to highlight your race here a few years back because a lot of people, I guess, have not really had the chance to meet you on the internet. A lot of people saw you braking on the ZX4 video and think you don't even know what you're doing when you're riding.
I don't know how to brake.
Yeah, but you've been riding and racing for 20 years now.
Yeah, riding 23, racing 20.
That is... It's a long time, dude. Yes, a long time.
No, and I would like to point out, like, none of it is on the street.
Yeah, no, none of it on the street. That is all like track racing, national level stuff. You went over to Spain, like this isn't like, oh, it was like club racing here and there for like 20 years. No, like you really took this shit seriously. Like you almost made this your life, you know? So we're watching one of your races today where you performed pretty well, but there is a climactic end, which I'm very excited to check out. Talk me through what this race was. We're going to start this off here while we're gridding up and stuff here. So what race is this? What are we doing? What's going on?
This is Barber Motorsports Park in Alabama. This is, I believe, round 5, race 2. Race 1, if you can hear it in the audio, that I had a little mechanical problem in race 1. The actual rear axle came out. So managed to get back to the pits. We didn't know what was going on. So I had to just DNF from the race.
And that's you right there.
I was qualified for front row. That's me right there. That's my mom holding the umbrella. Like we were a small operation. We didn't have a lot of money to do it, but we were qualified front row. We had the pace, and it was just piecing it together. It's hard to compete against big money, as we figured out.
Yeah.
But no, that was supposed to be my track because of all of the tracks that year that we raced. This was the one that I had been to.
Yeah.
And you can tell that I was the most comfortable at this track. It was the best. My rider coach, John Hayner, who was an ex-pro racer, he was actually right there standing in front, just with his little white shorts on. We buckled down that weekend, and it was, you could tell it was different. The aura around everything was just different.
For sure.
It was a really good weekend.
One thing I wanted to bring up here too is this was back in 2015, part of Moto America's RC Cup series. So everybody's on a spec bike pretty much.
The same bike.
Same bike.
They were subject to being randomly dynoed. They had throttle stops. Everyone was on the same bike. We had to use the same fork fluid, gas. If they found you to have ceramic bearings, you were disqualified, all sorts of stuff.
Yeah.
And we had it was a true spec series, and it was really, really cool for the years that it was around. And I'm ashamed that they got rid of it because it was that good. Like we had a KTM 18-wheeler there just for us. Like they had parts standby. Awesome. It was really cool. One of my good friends actually later in this year, Hayden Schultz, blew his motor and got a motor. Like
wow,
bam, and they put it in that night. We helped them put it in. It was really good trackside support. Phenomenal people to help us out. And they would help everybody evenly. They didn't pick favorites. They made sure not to go into anyone's pit. You had to come to them. All sorts of stuff. That way there was no bias. It was, here's the part.
Yeah.
Go, leave. If you mess it up, you mess it up. Here's the part.
Yeah.
And that was it. It was really, really cool to see.
So you participated on almost all the races this year, right?
I participated every single race this year. I only podiumed once, actually, at Road America, but I was always constantly battling for the lead.
Yeah.
I think the worst finish I had was, I think in New Jersey or something like that.
Yeah.
I had a bad race there. Stuff wasn't clicking, the exact opposite of this, and I think I finished like 13th or something like that.
Yeah.
But otherwise, the whole year we were battling for the lead the whole time.
That's awesome.
It was really good. I love the series because it was a rider series. Like me and my friend Hayden Schultz at the time, like I was 115 pounds here. My friend was 150 pounds, and we were running the same springs. Like he was on the heavy springs, I was on the heavy springs.
That's spec, yeah.
Yeah, it was spec. Like we had a range of things that we could use.
Yeah.
And it was a different level of racing. And a lot of these guys, like Anthony Mazziato there in third place on the front row, he still races in Moto America. Yep. I think he's in the 600s, or is he in
Twins? Yeah, I've seen his name. I've seen his name around. Yeah,
he's still around. He was 15 here actually.
Isn't Brandon Posh on the grid?
Nope, he was in 16. He came in 16. He wasn't in 15. Yeah. I think he wildcarded maybe in the last race on 15, but otherwise he raced in 16.
Is that Caleb DeCarroll?
That is Mason DeCarroll.
Mason DeCarroll,
his brother.
Oh, okay.
And then Gage McAllister on the front row qualified first. He's Supermoto Pro Racer champion, multiple-time champion.
Yeah.
Like we had some good racers that ended up blossoming into pretty powerful things. Like Hayden Schultz, he's still in the Twins Cup series, or the Twins races.
Some serious talent.
Nolan Lampkin, I think he's racing the Stock 1000s.
Yeah, he is.
Like, yeah. Posh the next year, he's now in the thousands. Like what they wanted to happen from the series happened. It grew into this pretty phenomenal thing to see.
Yeah. So you're starting off middle of the row here, second place.
Yep.
Spec series, KTM Cup bikes. This is the first year that they had been doing it, right? 2015.
First year.
So it's all kind of experimental. And yeah, one thing you mentioned is, it takes a lot of time, money, energy, and effort to do this stuff.
Even with the spec series it has, because we had to buy a specific bike to do it, and the bike was $13,000 basically.
But what you're saying is you had to buy it.
I
mean, you could, I guess, find sponsors and find a way, but like you have to basically create money to do that.
Yeah, it's difficult to find sponsors for a series that hasn't existed before. So a lot of these kids ended up having to figure it out.
Yeah.
Pretty much buy it. Don't get me wrong, there was people that had sponsors and still had money following them. But basically, it was a $13,000 motorcycle, and they're like, all right, cool, figure out how to get to the races. Yeah. And it was expensive. Driving from Laguna to New Jersey was hard.
Yeah.
I'm like, we were so busy that.
What were y'all set up? Do you have a camper or like
we were just in a 9x12 trailer, enclosed trailer,
and truck, and that's it.
Truck and go stay in a hotel. That's what we had. There were some kids out there that had big rigs. There were 30-foot long trailers and stuff. They had proper pit areas.
And your parents and their working situation at that point, they were taking time off, or what was?
Yeah, my mom was the one taking the most. Oh, my dad was taking the most time off. My mom couldn't come to a lot of them. She tried to come to key ones.
Yeah.
She was the one that had to stay back working. My dad was the one that had to fix it all, make it all happen at the track, just because my mom had to work. Someone had to bring in the money just to have something go on.
Yeah.
Actually, they're not going to like that I mention it, but they pulled money out of 401ks and stuff like that to make it happen. They have to. Yeah. It put them in a tight spot, but this was our last real... This is our chance to
I've heard that story so many times from other racers. Like I've heard like Jack Miller's family, for example, they like yeeted everything. Casey Stoner yeeted everything. Like, and it's wild that they're willing to take those risks,
and it's a risk that may not pay off. And if it doesn't, you're left in a hole, and it sucks. Yeah, it sucks. So.
Because you've been, at this point, like you'd been training your whole life to do something like this, and it's like it's do or die. Like you have to try to prove yourself to be the best.
Yeah, and so no matter what we did, like it's again hard to compete with big money. These kids, even though they didn't have the equipment that was better than us because it was a spec series, they had the time. They would fly back home, go do a track day at another track. They would keep riding.
Yeah, they'd keep riding, getting better. I was
stuck in a truck going from here back to Texas, or we'd go from here to NOLA.
You're not training.
To try to work and do something, not training, just eating fast food on the way.
Yeah.
At the beginning of the season, you show up really strong, but it does start to
makes
dwindle.
a big difference.
It does, absolutely.
Yeah, we were talking about that, how like, some kids will like, they'll fly the races, fly back, eat good meals, train, go to their own private kart tracks, go back, keep.
Yeah.
So yeah, of course you're gonna be good. You know,
of
like
course. You have the
infrastructure.
Exactly, the infrastructure to do it.
Mm-hmm.
And it's, again, not that you have better equipment. It's just you had more time.
Yeah.
It's hard.
So these were basically sprint races too, right? These were like what, 7 laps, 8 laps?
11 laps, yeah.
Oh, 11. Okay.
11, they're a little longer, so you
longer.
can put some strategy in it. But on tracks like Barber, where there's no real time to sit up, you're just racing.
Yeah. So it's an 11 lap around Barber. What's time around there?
I don't even remember. Don't even get me lying. It's been that long since.
Yeah.
Actually, that was in 16 was the last time I've been to Barber.
I'm gonna guess it. Let's just say 2 minutes. So I'm trying to think of overall race length. It's gonna be
about a 30-minute race.
30-minute race. Yeah,
about a 30-minute race.
So a little less than a typical Grand Prix, let's say. Yeah.
Well, I mean, they're small bikes. They're bikes. They're 390s. Yeah.
Yeah.
So it's a fantastic track, though. I love them.
Yeah,
have you been to Barber?
I've not, dude. We got to do a video series out there.
How groomed it looks is how groomed it is.
That's sick.
In real life.
Yeah,
it is. Every morning and night, the gravel traps are groomed.
Wow,
it is phenomenal.
The thing about Barber that I think is really cool is it was built as a motorcycle track, which is really cool.
It was built for the museum to have access to keep the motorcycles running.
So sick.
And everything in that museum runs, and it's so good to see those bikes too.
Yeah.
I try to go to Barber, and every time I go, it's always there's a day for the museum. Yeah. Every time. We
need to do something for Yammy out there for sure.
Yeah. Maybe absolutely. A road trip or something.
Yeah. So we are gridding up, red flag up the front there. We're about to get started underway here. Brandon P2 here. We'll try to turn the audio up a little bit. It's mostly just commentary for these guys, right? So let's just check. Yeah, we don't probably need that audio. We can probably just watch it.
Yeah, they say my name a lot.
Yeah. Well,
I was getting embarrassed when I watched this. I don't know why. But yeah, no, I get talked about a lot.
Yeah. So typical race star. I mean, it looks pro level. This looks like a Motor America race because it is. It's a pro level race, right? This is not
happened right before the 1000s, I believe.
Club race BS. It's real stuff. So here we go. Off the launch, watching the lights, and we're away.
I get an awful start. I think
usually starts so well. What happened?
Back then I didn't.
So you're in the red helmet there, right?
I'm third going into turn one.
Right, position. P3 red helmet. This broadcast, if you guys are used to watching GP and World Superbike, this is a little less of that kind of budget, so you have to work with us here a little bit. So there goes Brandon P3 chasing after him.
So the cool thing about Barber is you can tell I was the only one that was able to carry a tight line here. You can see, watch going in this corner.
Yeah,
I was the only
one way
that could
tighter,
just right in there and keep it tight. And it was those small details that you could tell through the whole weekend. Like when I did my qualifying lap, they were following me.
Yeah,
it wasn't me. It was that kind of weekend.
You were setting the pace. Yeah,
it was really cool.
And so right there, you already squeezed into second.
Exactly. Yep.
That's the Barber line through that weird little thing, right? That weird little hop right there.
It's if you get it wrong though, it'll let you know.
Yeah.
There's no forgiveness.
I've seen Superbike guys get it wrong there, and it's not pretty.
Full tuck, full throttle, left to right.
Right there?
Yep. 600s you just let off to set the bike. It's still technically full throttle.
Wow.
Yeah, it's a fast corner.
And lead, yeah?
Yeah.
There you go.
Yeah, it was... that weekend was another level because even when we went back in 16, like we expected this to happen.
Yeah.
And when it didn't, we didn't know how to respond.
Right.
So I actually didn't do well the next week.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. It was really weird. It was a different weekend. We're on a different level.
So just as a bit of a humble brag for you, Brandon, for people who don't know you, like you're now leading a pro level race.
Yes.
And just in that of it itself is like quite an accomplishment, like
in the commentary, I'm not sure if the guys can hear it. Later on, they mention, and you'll see that I lead every single lap minus 1 or 2 across the line.
Yeah.
I was not the only leader, but I did lead every lap.
You lead every lap, yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, if you want, we can crank up the commentary if you want to hear what the guys are saying about you.
That's up to you. That's up to you.
Let's see.
Group racing for 5th and a group racing for 12th.
Yeah, and you could tell that we were the 4 main people the whole season.
Yeah.
And I finished 6th this year. And the top 5 went to England to go race in the World Cup. That's what it was, the World Cup, yeah. I finished 6th.
So if you had finished 5th, you would have gone there to England to do the World Cup thing. Wow.
And it was on the last race. It was between me and actually my good friend Hayden right there in 3rd behind me.
Which that would have been the second time you had gone overseas, if that had happened, to go participate in something, because you went and did the Red Bull Rookies Cup when you were like 10 or something, when you were really little.
We did the tryouts, got to day 2 of the tryouts.
Yeah.
And we really quickly learned that they don't like Americans.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
Altmaier in the lead. That sounds good, doesn't it?
Brian, that's the commentator. His name is Brian. He liked me because he was a big fan of my rider coach. Tom Hainer. So he was always hanging out. I don't know if that's favoritism or not, but
that literally is.
Okay.
That's literally how favoritism is defined.
It felt good.
Yeah. So in these little bikes, I assume drafting comes into play, right? Like
it does.
It feels a little more Moto 3, a little more like that. Yeah.
Especially on a track like Barber, like through turn 10, that quick left right, or turn 9 actually, that quick left right full throttle. You're drafting in the turn.
Mm-hmm.
I know you're seeing my weird line. You're already questioning it. I'll mention that next lap.
I was curious, yeah, because I saw the rider on the. Is that why you did that, to set up the inside for there?
You haven't seen anyone pass me going into that corner.
Yeah.
Little bikes don't go up hills.
It's true.
Why would you go up the steepest part of the hill?
Oh.
It's the small detail, like we always talk.
Yeah, it's true.
Small stuff.
We do mention that a lot.
The small stuff. No, I learned that from my rider coach. It made sense when you think about it. You're like, oh yeah. Why would you? Like on a bicycle on a really steep hill, you do this.
Yeah.
You don't go up the steepest thing. You make it less shallow.
Be as efficient as possible. Yeah.
Exactly. So as long as I can get a good drive coming out of 3, it made sense going up that hill.
So see, it almost seems like they're able to gap you based on power alone, or is that the draft? It's hard to tell in the footage. It's the draft.
Yep. Because you'll see they're on the last lap when we get there. Obviously, I won't be there, but
don't ruin the surprise.
It's still going to be a surprise. So I'm not going to tell them where it happens. But my friend Hayden Schultz, he's a bit bigger at this stage than we are.
Yeah.
They double draft him even at Barber, and there's no straight.
Okay.
This right here is the longest straight.
Yeah. And I'm also noticing, you talked about the hill, it does seem like Barber actually has quite a bit of elevation. It looks like you're actually really working up and down some hills.
A lot. The cameras don't do it justice.
Yeah.
Like this, right
it looks
here,
like a bowl.
all
that you're
downhill.
going down,
all uphill right to the apex.
And then
downhill.
right here, you're going up.
And the suspension bottoms out there, even on those small bikes.
Yeah.
That's how steep that hill is.
And this is that weird line you're taking, yeah? Yep.
And then I get right back over just like a normal line all the way around. Turn 5, Charlotte's Web.
You can tell, you saw those other riders, you're so much tighter there. Yeah, you're way tighter.
See, I can hold the tightness too, and have the speed. Yeah.
What's fascinating is, despite it being a spec series, the delta between these lap times are massive, honestly.
What, 147s for the guys in 18th, 19th?
Yeah, and then you're looking 22, like 150s, 151s. I mean, those are... Yep. You're 4 seconds off per lap on the exact same bike.
And they still had the 107% rule, so all these guys qualified.
Yeah.
So all these guys qualified with 107%, but it adds up in the race.
For sure it does.
Because everyone wants to battle to try to catch up. Well, the leaders already know, like, okay, we're not battling. We're going to break. We're going to break away and then battle.
Yeah.
And that's exactly what happened. That's why you only see the 4 of us, basically.
Altmaier from Cedar Park, Texas. He's 18 years of age.
God, I love Barber. It's just so cool to look at. It's such a good track. Like, that's one track that you can't find anything.
So I just heard him say something there. He said, Brandon Altmaier, Cedar Park, Texas, 18 years old. Then he said Mazziato, 14 years old.
Yeah, 14.
So
McAllister's 19 and Schultz is 17 at this point.
So the age delta there is pretty big too. So it's not it's not exactly a junior series then, right?
So you can start, I believe, at 13.
God, that's young.
But you age out, you get kicked out of the series at 20, 21, I think.
Yeah.
But there is a guy in here that's older than that. At this point, I think they're still trying to figure out what that limit was. I think it might have been 25 here. But you do get kicked out at some point. You do age out.
Yeah.
Because, I mean, you're not really bragging if you're a 20-something-year-old beating a 14-year-old. You're not bragging. So that's kind of.
I think there was a Wyman brother that was happening to him in Junior Cup in Moto America. They kept raising the age limit for him, and he kept riding in the 400s.
Oh, jeez.
He was like 28, and people were like, "What are you doing?
Yeah. Why are you here?
Yeah, that's weird."
Dude, there are 12-year-olds here. What are you doing? Yeah, no, it's. Yeah.
What's interesting is I've seen you ride on track a bunch because we race in endurance together and stuff, and I can tell in this race how hard you're pushing. Like, because in our races now, like you're sitting up, you're hanging out, you know, you're actually. I mean, you are full tuck, full attack mode. You are riding the pants off that bike.
I have a very old style of riding, very upright, very away from the bike. You can tell.
You still do to this day. Yeah,
dragging elbows never been my thing. I always learned it was. I don't know. I don't want to be anywhere near the bike when it crashes, so that was my thing. So, just get away as soon as you can. So
it's a little more like Alex Rins style, you know, like that older school style, which it works. It doesn't mean you're slower. It's just that now you see guys like Jorge Martin, they're sliding at shoulders on the ground and stuff.
How you want to do it is up to you. Just go do it. Like, just go be fast. How you want to do it is really up to you. Be fast.
That's it. Just go be fast.
I don't know why you're struggling. Just go be fast.
Go do whatever you want to do. Just go be fast. No. So now it looks like you're kind of building a gap. That's pretty good.
Trying to. So I remember distinctly that I was pushing and I was making very small mistakes, even though you don't see them. You don't see them. I was making small mistakes, and they were catching up. They were working together. If you watch.
G. Gerloff just popped up. Was he in this race?
Grayson.
Oh, Grayson.
Yep.
Oh, okay. Yep. I forgot that he has that brother. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Ashton Yates.
Ashton Yates. Yeah. There you go.
Aaron Yates. Yep.
Nolan Lampkin. Yeah. But you've shared the track with Gerloff before. I remember you told me that you raced him a couple times.
Ago.
Yeah.
Last time I raced him, I think it was 2010 in a Milwaukee Cup in Indianapolis.
Is that got mechanical or something?
Yeah. I think that was Nolan Lampkin mechanical, if I remember correctly.
Jody Berry.
Yep. He's still out there nowadays, isn't he?
He is, yeah.
Gray Femme, he's doing all the photography for Garrett now. Not for Garrett, but he does a lot of those higher-end guys now.
Yeah, because you and Garrett are about the same age, I think.
Yeah,
26, 27, something like that.
Yeah, I think he's a year older than me.
Yeah.
No, he's a great guy.
He's
we just disconnected. He's traveling the world.
He's literally being a world superbike rider.
Superbike rider. Yeah.
Yeah, it would have been. We're gonna get him back out here at some point because we did the scooter video and all that.
Yeah.
We gotta get him on track.
Gotta have some fun.
We gotta get him on track. It'd be so much fun.
I remember Garrett was helping out his brother a lot for this.
Yeah,
cool. It was cool to see because just the whole family was there. His dad, his mom.
So here we are, lap 6 of 11.
Yep, and you can see that no one can really break away. It's just us four.
You got those 4 guys. Yeah,
who's there basically.
But you are firm. I mean, you fully led the other lap and this lap now. You didn't get drafted in the other one, which is good.
And for some reason, I don't know how I was carrying it. I still don't know to this day how I was able to do it. But no matter what position I was in, no matter what position I was in coming out of the last corner, I was first across the line. And don't ask me how I did it, because you don't draft down that front straight. So maybe some wizardry or something like that. But no, it was a really good series. We had a lot of hard-fought battles.
Yeah.
A lot of hard-fought battles.
I know that's what you love most.
I love a physical track, which Barber is. And I love a good battle.
Yeah.
Like, don't get me wrong. It's a really cool feeling when you can do the pace and not try.
Yeah.
But
when you got to work for it.
You got to work for it, and you still end up doing it. Like that, it makes it feel better. Like you deserve to have it now. It's pretty cool.
Like that's racing, you know?
That's why I always try to help people that want to be helped. I hate going to people and being like, "Hey, try doing this."
Yeah.
Come ask me.
So there was a dude you just flew by there. Was that a lapper, or was that a dude that was in the pack that just ended up in a weird spot? I don't know. That was a weird.
I wasn't looking.
I think he was part of the pack. I don't think it was a lapper. And yeah, there you are, still going first, Brandon. You're gonna take this one home, aren't you?
Gonna try.
You're gonna try.
Oh gosh. I'm not gonna say win.
Yeah.
I've been sweating this whole time. God, dragging your knee through the dirt on purpose is a really cool feeling.
Yeah. I bet it feels cool.
Yeah, it does.
Yeah.
And it's funny because I still have that suit. It's
You
a
do.
struggle to fit in.
You do.
Like,
You fit it in earlier this year.
But those were the same knee bugs.
No way. Wow.
I don't drag my knee because you're not supposed to drag your knee
You're not
throughout the
you're not
corner.
supposed to, yeah.
Touch it. Okay, there's the ground. And
Yeah.
you pull it back up.
We have a joke on the Discord. It's like, oh, if you're dragging knee, it's friction. It's slowing you down.
And we used to in the old two-stroke days. That's how we did it. We had leather knee sliders, so it would do
Yeah.
it on purpose.
You sound like you're a billion years old when you say that.
I know,
But
but that's why I brake the way I brake.
yeah.
That's why I brake like this. So if that brake lever comes back in and don't go back out, I can push
You
it
can
back.
push it back out. Yeah.
Push it back out, and you have better control.
Yep.
You get on the throttle sooner.
Nope. Coming up on the inside.
Our leaders
Setting them up. I'm gonna try.
continuing to run the laps that we've seen them run. It is now Anthony Mazziato in front with
We need to go back to Barber.
Brandon Altmaier
Yeah.
second. Mazziato, Altmaier, McAllister, and
Watch this.
you have to
Watch
think that
this.
the rest of them back there. He's
That's a pretty good, like, two, three bike links.
Yeah.
And he has not yet moved forward to make a move on anybody.
You pulled out of that earlier than I thought you would have, honestly. But
Because I
yeah.
had to run. Had to. You can't.
You had to
can't-
drive, yeah.
You can't stop it on those small bikes. You have to keep it going.
Yeah, the drive.
Keep the momentum.
Then very quickly behind
It's interesting because we were at ECR for the last endurance round, and I still don't understand how you did the lap time you did versus my lap times. But then I remember, like, really you have so much expertise in little bike riding. You know, like mini bikes and 400s and 390s. Like, you understand them very well. So that you went out a little wide. That wasn't that super tight line you done before, but you
'Cause he was on
still
the
he
inside of
went
me,
super.
but yeah, he couldn't.
still
he
got
couldn't
him,
hold
yeah.
the line, so we're coming back. Those were the subconscious things that I was doing back then.
Yeah.
That's why that weekend was just on another level. It was just like, oh, you did that? Okay, I'm.
Because you were operating on pure feel and
exactly.
stuff. You
That's
weren't
why I always
thinking
say
as much.
know as much as you can because the track was known. I knew exactly where I could put the bike to get exactly whatever result I needed.
Mm-hmm.
So the moment I saw him right there on the inside, I was like, okay, cool. You can have it.
Yeah.
You're gonna get it back. That's the level.
That left right looks so much fun.
Dude, you need to.
It looks so much fun.
It's so fast, dude. You do it
Yeah.
once and you're like, nope, 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 nope. Yeah, no, it's
for
fucking
a
cool
moment.
corner.
But Mazziato maintains the advantage.
Hey, you guys were bunched
Yeah.
up, all four of you.
Just the whole time.
Nobody
whole
wanted to give anything,
There's
man.
Mazziato. I think he almost high sides here.
Nope.
Yoink.
Oi,
Yep.
got
So,
close.
solid. So this
Lost
was-
a ton of speed.
This
You
was
took
the
second.
first lap that I couldn't get the lead back
Yeah.
across the line.
Back on the motorcycle, so he's okay. They're coming
But we
by
catch
now.
Gage going into turn 2. Like, we're right back on him. There's never a point where it's just like, okay,
Yeah.
someone's breaking away, we got to work.
That moment by Mazziato kind of
Right back on him.
everybody else up a little bit.
So
Now they've closed the gap
it was
right back to him.
it was a tight series. This taught you, and you needed to know already how to battle and where to battle
Yeah.
and when to battle. Like, if you notice, my friend Hayden Schultz, he's just sitting there. He's been sitting there the whole time, just watching,
Kind of has, yeah.
watching. He's like, no, it's fine. If you make a mistake, I'll be there.
Yeah.
Otherwise, I'm just
Because
gonna sit right
when
here.
you're that close, you know you have time.
Yeah.
You know, if you got 5 laps in the
I
bag
don't
and you're
need
right
to push
there,
to
you don't need
catch
to push
it.
super
Yeah,
hard.
I'm
Yeah.
right here. Yeah.
You see GP guys do that all the time. They just sit there and they're like, oh, if I can catch you, and then I'll get you eventually. You know.
Yep.
But you were not riding that way. You wanted to be in the front. You wanted to win. You wanted to lead.
Yeah,
could tell.
I wanted to because I knew I could.
Yeah.
Because I mean, up to this point,
You've shown it, yeah.
Yeah, I knew I could. So, it,
Yeah.
different strategies for different folks. Normally, most of the year, I was the guy that was following. I wasn't leading because I didn't know the tracks. Everyone
Yeah.
else did. So I wasn't that guy. I was the guy that was just sitting in the back, watching, learning. If I could hang, I could hang. If I couldn't,
Yeah.
it was what it was. I'd just salvage what I could.
You know, for being like a national level, like spec series, entry level bike thing, I mean, it's some good racing. We're going back and forth here. Like it's cool, you know. Like
And some
there's
good-
lots
and
of
good
lead position
passes,
changing.
too.
Yeah, good
Good
passing.
passes. They actually, I think in 2016, they ended up putting, in towards the end of 15, they put a bunch of onboard cameras on us too.
Oh, that's cool.
Yoink.
Oh, Brandon.
Front straightaway, out goes Mick. I think that is going to be Brandon Altmaier, who just slid out in turn 17.
Ah. Let's watch
Starting the final.
Let's watch it again. I looked away.
Geez. Yeah, I know you did. That's why I was like,
I looked away. So penultimate lap. No, actually, a couple laps before the
starting
penultimate. Starting the penultimate.
The last corner, you can skip forward more. This is turn 5.
Oh, okay.
Right there. It's turn 7.
Yeah, we'll just keep watching it here. You just tucked the front, overloaded it. What happened?
The rear slid first, actually.
The rear slid?
Yeah.
So here you go. It's left, right?
The rear slid first, and it was one of those things where you let go or you're going to high side.
Yeah.
So you just let go. Because it's a fast corner. We're full throttle to that
last left-hander, yeah.
That last left-hander. From the moment we're on the right flipping it over, we're full throttle.
Yeah.
So it's a full throttle corner for us, and it's fast. So it's not something that you generally save. For the bigger bikes like 600s, they're not full throttle right there.
Yeah.
They're off the throttle so they can save it. Right here. I carried it a bit tighter than normal, and it just didn't end up working out.
Oh.
Yeah. And it was a very distraught feeling because the next race, like that race destroys confidence.
Oh, yeah.
The first race, all right, it's not your fault, it's mechanical.
Yeah.
But the second race you knew you should have had.
Yeah.
And you make one simple mess up and it just costs everything.
One simple thing.
It costs everything.
Yeah.
But you can see right here, I think, so Hayden passes for the lead. And they end up double drafting him. Like he goes from like first to third when they draft him. It's crazy. I don't know if it's here or coming out. But they just sit right there. I think it's here. No, okay. So it's going onto the back here and they just swallow him. They literally just swallow him.
Wow.
Yeah, no, it's crazy to see. He hated it because every time, like when we went to Miller Motorsports Park, or I think it's Utah Motorsports Campus now.
Yeah.
It was the worst for him there. It was literally just getting double drafted all the time. So they had some room to make up, and they just sat there.
Yeah.
And it's like they turned on a turbo.
And then, look at that.
Shonk around. Like, you can't do anything. You can't do anything there.
That's so frustrating. Yeah. That's super frustrating. And I mean, it's funny because if you had lasted one more lap in that race, that very well could have happened to you. You know, you got double drafted and eaten up, and then that's it.
Yeah, we won't know how it would have finished.
We don't know. We only know the one way it finished.
Yeah. How it would, like if it played out like every other lap did.
Yeah.
Again.
So was that, so first of all, congrats. I mean, that's a hell of an effort. You know, that's pretty sweet.
Yeah.
Would that have been your national race win? Have you gotten one before?
No, so I haven't gotten a pro race win. That would have been the first one if it did come to fruition.
Because I always hear that once you get like one, then it's like, oh, I can do this.
Yeah, you get to a whole nother level of confidence, and it just starts happening. Yeah, yep. It can cascade. It happens in amateur racing, pro racing, world racing. It happens. You just get onto a new level of confidence. But if you're already at a higher level of confidence, and you go in expecting something, and it doesn't, it just gets destroyed.
Yeah.
And that's kind of what happened here. We didn't really expect to win because we were still on a pro grid, but the fact that the weekend came so easy to us, it was just like, okay, I think we did like 2 bike adjustments all weekend.
Yeah. It just had that magical feeling, right?
Exactly.
Like,
it was just like,
it's going to work out.
Yeah. Bike's here, I'm here.
Yeah.
It's just, we were coasting. Like we went out to eat, we weren't stressing about anything. We just immediately after practice, we're like, all right, cool, anything? Like, no, okay. Loaded the bike and we just left the track. Yeah. And there were still people at the track. And I was like, it was just a different weekend. It was a different time. It was cool feeling.
That's cool, man.
I haven't had that feeling in a long time.
Yeah. Well, I enjoyed watching it. It's a bummer you crashed at the end.
Yeah.
I still think it would be fun one day to see if we can wild card you into like a Moto America race or something. It would be cool. We need the right bike to do it. Yeah, we need to go to the gym. We need the right bike. We need to do all that stuff.
Stop drinking this.
Yeah. Or maybe more of that. We don't know.
More. I mean,
maybe more.
Maybe some doctors.
Maybe we can get you
2,000 calories.
What is that? True Moo? We can get that little patch on your suit.
Sponsorship.
Sponsored by Chalky Milk. You know,
the chalky
powered.
Milk. Yeah, the chalkiest of the milks.
Yeah. Well, folks, I hope you enjoyed watching Brandon's race and learning a little bit more about him. And now we're going to move on to the final bit of the podcast. We're going to check out the Discord stories you guys sent over to us. Let's get into that. Alrighty, folks. Welcome to the last bit of the Yamcast. I asked the Discord boys to send us over their favorite motorcycle story. If you want to join up and hang out on the Discord, the best way is to become a member over at yammynoob.co. It's a fun way to join up what we're doing here. So without further ado, let's read these stories, and then we're going to pick the best one, send him over a little $100 gift card. So Malakos tells us here, picture goes with my story. I was given this by my brother when I was an early teen. However, due to different reasons, I wasn't able to buy my first bike until last year at the age of 34. Right now, I'm on my 2008 SV650S, but I plan to keep the model in the box until I get my own Kawasaki Supersport bike. Only then will I open the box. I love that.
That's cool. That's an old toy, too.
It's a ZX12. Yeah, it's an old toy. That's cool, man.
I'd sell that for good money, but for
it's
emotional
priceless,
reason,
it's priceless.
You can't.
I mean, ZX12s are, not that hard to find. If you want to get one just like this, it actually wouldn't be that difficult.
I think he just wants a Kawasaki Supersport bike.
Kawasaki Supersport, then there you go. That's even easier. Those are dime a dozen. You can get those on Craigslist all day, and then you can open up the toy. I like that story.
Yeah. Sentimental.
Jay-Z here. My Yamcast submission. They say, my best motorcycle story took place a mere 4 months after learning to ride on my G310 GS. One day, I was meandering through the streets and I saw a dirt road opening with a gate swung open and said no trespassing signage. It was located underneath a big state-wide telephone cable route. A path was cleared from one end to the other. I knew this because I had seen the other entrance, which had a no trespassing sign, so I took that as plausible deniability and yeeted myself in with zero preparation. At first, all was good. Nice, easy dirt road on which I was merrily traversing. Then I came upon a big dip. It was probably 10 feet down and immediately another 10 feet up. And the bottom of the dip was mud. I contemplated my best move and came up with speed and power, so I accelerated hard into it and out of it. I lost control on the way out and my bike tipped over, but I made it to the top. So I picked my bike up and rode through some tall grass to get back on the path and continued. Then back onto some nice easy paths again. Eventually, I got worried I was out of my depth and I tried to cross over a stream to make an early exit. Big fucking mistake. I got stuck in the stream and had to completely lift my bike out of it. I pulled the front wheel over the 2 to 3 foot ledge in the stream and then I mustered all of my strength to the rear out. At this point, I was completely winded, panting like crazy. I feathered the clutch and walked it back onto the trail. All was good again until I came across a mud pit, a big mud pit. Had no idea what I was doing, so again I referred to my friend's speed and power, made it 10 feet, then promptly fell over, covered my bike and myself completely in mud. I then resorted to pushing my bike through the mud. I tried to pull my bike through the handlebars, but the front kept sinking in, and after trying that for 15 minutes, I knew I wasn't going to get anywhere. Then I tried pushing from behind, and I made it out. After that, I followed the paths out and finally got back to the main road. Funniest part of the whole experience was returning home. My bike and I were caked in mud, so much so that when I got to the first stop sign, a bunch of mud flew off the bike upon stopping. I remember looking up at the cars and the sheer bewilderment of the car drivers. Then I moseyed on my merry way back home from that crazy adventure. I learned a lot that day, but I knew it was an experience I'll never forget. I like that one.
It's a great feeling when you drive on, if you got covered in mud and you just drive on the road and just all of it flies off.
Yeah, you saw just flipping off and flying off. I think this is great because a little G310 GS, 4 months into riding, he's just like, yeah, I'm just going to try being an adventure rider.
Yeah,
he's like, I'm just going to go off-road in this crazy trail.
I see a trail, let's go for it.
Yeah, that's the spirit of adventure, yeah. And speed and power, that'll get you far, that'll get you far.
10 feet.
10 feet, yeah, into the mud.
10 feet.
God, I personally hate riding in mud.
Yeah. No, it gets everywhere. You get stuck.
I hate it. It's not fun.
No.
Bikes and Mullets with his story here says, there's a long and straight road near my house that everyone calls Mexico when I was in high school, and that's where we would all meet up and drag race. Well, fast forward, I'm best friends with a local cop who also rides bikes. He owns a 99 ZX12R. We were hanging out one night working on my bike where we were putting together a ported head with the bigger cams on my bike, a 2001 ZX6R, and we wanted to see how much power we picked up, so we devised a plan to meet up in Mexico where he would clock me to see how fast I could get up to this to see how fast I could get up to. Well, this soggy SOB decides to prank me and get 3 more of his cop friends to hide, so when I came through doing about $130, I instantly had 3 cops on me, so I pitted in 4th when I get to the top of 4th. My brain-dead self thought I was on my other bike, 2005 R1, that was GP shift. So basically, I went from the top of 4th, accidentally downshifted into 3rd, and instantly blew up my freshly built ZX6R. FML. All the cops were just fucking with me, and they all chipped in to build my new motor. Wow, that took a crazy twist.
Good guys for helping you put it back together, though.
Yeah. That's crazy that you had the cop friend that was agreed to, like, clock you, but then, like, he tried to prank you, and then you blew up your engine. Oh, my God, that's insane.
Hey, but he got a new engine after it.
He got a new engine.
Good memory, and he got a new engine.
Got a new engine. I love it. Oh my gosh. That's my favorite so far, I will say. Squidnut here, their story. I just started riding, so I don't have much. My favorite story as of right now is just me becoming more comfortable with my bike. It's allowing me to fully enjoy the ride and have plenty of more smiles throughout the day because I am riding. Well, simple, that's good. We are looking for good stories, though. There was not, a character arc, a climax of any sort. So I don't know if I can qualify that one as a story. So Deborah Soar here, her story, popping wheelies in the MSF. Back when I took the MSF course, it was very interesting. First, the small GN125 I chose was apparently named My Little Pony. Then during cornering practice, the instructor was like, "Do you hear that noise? You're leaning so hard you're scraping the center stand in every turn." And I was like, "Is that bad?" And the response was, "No, but you're definitely a candidate for the Daredevil Award for this class." And then later during emergency braking practice, the instructor told me to really give it gas in order to get it up to speed. I ended up dumping the clutch, and the instructor was like, "Okay, maybe not that much gas. I can't pass you if you wheelie during the test. Good job on the braking distance, though." And of course, during the test, I did a minor stoppie. After all this, I didn't even win said Daredevil Award, 2nd place, and I'm actually a pretty conservative rider now, even though it's something I do enjoy straightaways. Quite impressive to stoppie a GN125.
Yeah, and wheelie it.
Yeah. That's like that cursed little Suzuki 125 single. Like, I think you could just like 4-finger just do that, and I don't think I could get it to stoppie. Yep. So pretty impressive.
Yeah.
Pretty impressive.
I like how the MFS instructor was like, "Okay, sure."
He's like, "Yeah, that's
keep
fine.
going. Yeah, keep going. Do it.
Yeah.
Do it again."
Gilly. This story says, "So, funny thing is everyone tells you bikes don't get you women. But I got a bike, and since I have been non-stop giving women rides." Brandon, this guy fucks.
This is not a problem that I have.
This is You're like, I don't know about this problem. No. But it's not that you don't get women that they are wrong about. What no one tells you is that when you get a bike, it's that 2x the women that you give rides, you have that many men giving you attention asking for rides. Suddenly, I feel like a bike slut, just giving everyone and anyone a ride. I haven't been this many hugs in years, or shoulder massages.
On his CBR 300R?
Yeah, on his CBR 300R, he's pulling ass nonstop.
I cannot relate.
I can't relate, no.
Maybe because we don't have a CBR 300R.
We don't have a CBR. We have a Ninja 400 that's race prepped, so no one can ride in the back. All right, Marky Mark here with a story. Mild graphic medical warning. I'll leave the gross parts in. Spoiler markup, keeping it anonymous and brief. It's Mexico. Of course it's Mexico. In particular, trip number 13. 50 riders, mostly new to Mexico, and the first time we brought a support van. We had bikes on fire, broken bones, KLRs needing to be towed, the works. As a fun side note, I've actually done this Mex trip that he's talking about. Mm-hmm. It is crazy. Yeah, I took my desert sled down there. People get nuked constantly. Wow. I did it once and I was like, I'm never doing this again. It's just sketchy. My friends and I took support van responsibilities for the second day, which meant shopping and relaxing by the lake until somebody needed us. It took about 10 minutes. We got called to a bad crash at the top of the mountain with a rider in unknown condition. Upon speeding up the mountainside, we saw that a rider had crashed into a deep creek bed. He was seated, but obviously in a lot of pain. We figured out pretty quickly was in pretty critical condition. We slid him into a folding chair and lifted him up out of the creek bed and into the passenger seat of the van. We all silently stared at the puddle of blood left in the chair. Uh-oh. Once in the van, our paramedic friend held his blood in while I held him to the seat. We raced the van down the mountainside towards a hospital in Monterey. We let him chew on wet cloth. We knew he was going straight into surgery, so we didn't give him any water. 45 stressful minutes later, he was in the hospital bed, and he went back for his chewed-up bike. All things considered, the dude lucked out. He crashed in the one place on the road that wasn't a death cliff, and the support crew included a paramedic, mechanics, ex-military, and me for strong moral support. I won't go into injury details, but he would have had serious complications if we didn't get him off that mountain when we did. Maybe not my craziest story, but hard to forget. Ride safe, y'all. So I think this is the guy's bike.
Ouch.
It's
a Triumph.
It's a Triumph.
Oh.
I love that you spotted that so quickly.
I did.
See the triple cylinder, you're like, that's why it happened.
I actually didn't even see that. I just saw the Triumph badge.
Right there.
Yeah. I literally just saw that.
Yeah. Yeah, that one's pretty nuts too, man. Going international with any bike stuff is always pretty. It can get sketchy for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah. But yeah, the Mexico trip was nuts. I gotta tell you my stories, but that's why my right toe points this way.
Oh,
because I got injured out there too.
Great.
Yeah, and that was the last international adventure ride I ever did. I was like, I've had enough. I'm good.
That fixed, or is it because of the memories?
The memories.
Oh.
Yeah. And
I
also talked to a doctor about it, and they're like, does it hurt? And I'm like, not really. And they're like, don't get surgery for it. And they're like, it just looks weird.
If it hurts, then okay,
yeah,
then go for it.
Yeah. All right, Daxa with the final story here. At 2 a.m. in the foggy mist of a monsoon night, I awoke to the sound of my blaring alarm. I placed a gentle kiss upon the forehead of my unwakeable deep sleeper of a girlfriend and ventured forth into the night. What she didn't know wouldn't worry her. I had barely owned my first motorcycle for 20 days, but I had the itch. I simply had to do everything there was on a motorcycle. I heard Father Yam's voice in my head. Go forth, young squidling, engage in multiple disciplines of riding. Seeking well-roundedness, shall you reach enlightenment. Wow, I sound so wise. I'm good. That's cool. Wow. I just as is common with young squids, I didn't have the support system, knowledge, and local moto friends that I do now. For though I was a member of the esteemed Yamanoob Discord community, I lived thousands of miles away from most other members. My only other recourse was Google. I was adamant to find an off-road riding experience I could take part in to help improve my road riding, but the nearest one I could Google was over 400 kilometers away, north of Kuala Lumpur. That would be a multi-day trip, and I couldn't afford to spend the night there, much less than take a day off of work. And so, armed with the sheer confidence of not having any concept of how uncomfortable it is to sit on a small sport bike for 12 hours, I set out in the dead of night, hoping to arrive before dawn. This would be my way of tackling two big firsts in motorcycling, off-roading and a long tour. But boy, what a shit long tour that was. I was so concerned with making it on time, I avoided all the fun twisties and sat on the highway for 4 grueling hours, pinned in the red line and the 6th gear of my vibey, hard-seated RC200. Oh, that is a miserable highway bike. An RC200?
What, top speed 60?
Top speed like 65, yeah. Because it was so dark, I didn't even get a good view. Even though it wasn't raining, I became soaked by the thick layer of mist that had settled over the hills from the day's rain, and this made me cold, even in the tropics. I managed to arrive at my destination at 7 a.m. and simply collapsed into a plastic chair outside of the one coffee shop next to the bike shop. It would be an hour before it opened and another hour before I was supposed to be there for a guided off-road tour, and I didn't sleep a wink. Oh boy. In my hubris, I booked an intermediate rider's tour, and because obviously I'm clearly not a beginner with a whole 20 days of real-world riding experience, I was probably spiteful of the 8 months and hundreds of hours of training circuit I had done by then in order to even get my license. So the next 6 hours of enduro through the Malaysian jungles, through massive thick mud puddles, narrow crossings with cliffs on either side, intense hill climbs, and baby's honest-to-God first jumps absolutely destroyed me. I arrived back at the shop. A ruined woman immediately desecrated their bathroom because that's what happens when your only meal of the day is 50% coffee and 50% sambal, and tipped the guide a little extra to let me nap on their couch for 30 minutes past closing time. When he wakes me up, it's the same miserable route back home. This time, I was not shy with the rest stops. My legs were shaking, my palms blistered, bleeding, my fingers vibrating even when still. I cannot imagine what the customs officers was thinking of me, but I got plenty of weird looks, And when I finally arrived home at 8 p.m., I had been on a moving motorcycle for 16 of the last 18 waking hours. Ugh. I have since learned that there are no less than 3 off-road specific bike shops/camps within 30 minutes of my home that Google failed to mention. And now friends, GPX files, and proper enduro gear of my own. My next move, a Beta 200RR, of course, because a factory race bike somehow fits within the licensing restrictions for total beginners being under 200 cc's. The end.
Wow.
Yeah. We've
16 hours on a motorcycle. Could you imagine?
That's a lot.
We should do something like that.
No, why? Why would we do that?
Why not? We like dumb things. Let's do dumb things.
Okay, let's cannonball run to Barber, do a track day, and cannonball run back, all on bikes.
Do we get to pick the bike?
Pick your bike, yeah.
We have to pick one that fits good into the road
the
category.
Touring and the track,
and
yeah.
The track, yeah. Okay. That'd be fun.
I feel like we just pass out from exhaustion like mid-session.
No, my commitment would outweigh. This is why I'm at Barber. I'll be like, I'm awake for this.
It is funny, like you were able to operate on like 1 hour of sleep. I don't know how you do it. I can't. I'm a big baby. I have to get my sleep. I have to get my sleep.
Show up at the track, 1 hour of sleep. You're like ready to race for 3 hours. Like, no, I'm not. But I will.
I think that very much falls under level 2 or level 3 fun. You look back on it and you're like, wow, that was a crazy thing I did. That was, awesome. But in the moment, you're like, why am I here?
Yeah, you hate life.
What am I doing?
But it's a great memory.
Great memory.
You'll never forget it. That's for sure.
Yeah, and that's what being young and riding bikes is all about. So, Dax, I like that story a whole lot. That was really cool. Brandon, out of all these stories we heard, which one would you say is your favorite?
I probably like bikes and mullets. I like that one. Because I feel that.
Yeah,
I feel that.
I like that one too. I think that was my favorite for today.
Yeah.
Bikes and mullets, I declare you our winner for the contest of the week. We will send you a $100 gift card to yammynoob.co. Hit up Brandon on the Discord server. We'll get that all set up for you. And hopefully apparently you got your motor rebuilt, but as a consolation prize for having your motor blown up, we'll do that for you. Get
yourself something nice.
For sure. Folks, thanks so much for tuning in for today's episode of the Yamcast. We truly do appreciate it. Remember, join over at yammynoob.co, become a member. It's a ton of fun. And we'll catch you guys in the next one. See you later.